Welcome back, guys, to Pro League live in the Next Arena. My name is Valdez. Joining me today is Wolf. He's finally back. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. This is actually a sick view of the top of Gangnam. You can actually see the roof of my building. It's a little away from here, but that's crazy that you can actually see that. I'm back. I feel so glad to be back, man. Yeah. I'm like in such a good mood today.
You should be, man. We're starting with Pro League again.
It's been so long. I was in Tokyo for like 18 days or something like that. It was a long time. It was a long trip. Ended up staying longer than I expected, but been following all the Starcraft live bit over there. And this team, this sponsor, this company is taking over. +5 indicator, 2-0 so far this round. Well, they've got a tough challenge today versus KT Rolster. Yeah,
KT, a team that won last season, but now is kind of struggling down there. I think tied for 4th place right now in points. They need to start doing a bit better, but they've got a hard matchup ahead of them as well. I mean, SBENU, you talked about it a little bit. They're doing so well these days. And starting off with MMA here, a guy who did so well in TVT last week against Cure. Just totally shreked him, and now he's going up against Flash, who's also a great TVT player. So this is going to be a great match to start with.
Yeah, MMA beat Cure convincingly in Pro League, and then I think he 3-0'd, or rather 2-0'd, I think TY maybe it was. He played against another Terran fairly recently and just destroyed them. He looks really strong in TVT, but Flash historically has been known for being good in TVT as well. So even though I think a lot of people would favor MMA here, myself included, I think Flash definitely has a good chance of bringing his A game today and taking that win. So this is one of the closest series today, I think, that we're going to have, and definitely going to be the one that sets the pace, sets the momentum going into this series.
Later on today, we got CJ Entis versus MVP. Don't forget about that match. Stay if you can, guys. Could be a good one. You know, MVP, they've got some matchups that are possible for them to win. You know, normally you would say CJ definitely favored there, and they are, but MVP definitely will have a decent chance. And I don't know, we're going to jump into this one first.
That we are. And so good to be back, man.
Yeah, everybody sees your face. You got the beard today?
I got a beard today.
Wolf's been hiding out for quite a while. He had no razor, so please forgive him, guys.
So I was staying at my friend's house, and he had this razor that I was convinced was actually like supposed to be for girls or something. I don't know. I guess it's, like, you know, in Japan you don't have massive facial hair. They don't have the facial hair that I have. So it was a razor I found difficult to use, and towards the end of the trip I just gave up. I was done with it.
And this is what happens when you give up on shaving. And guys, here's the matchup today. We'll talk a bit more about your beard later, Wolf. SBENU versus KT Rolster. We're going to start off with MMA versus Flash, as mentioned before. Then we go into Myungshik versus Zess, a PvP on Deadwing. Then we got Lenok versus Light, a ZVZ. 3 mirror matchups actually in a row. And then we jump into Bomber versus Stats to end it.
I feel like we're in, at this point in time, in my opinion, like the highest level of top players that are hitting each other consistently in Pro League, GSL, and Star League that we've ever had in the history of StarCraft 2. When you look at all of these players, all of these matchups today, a team that was one of the weaker teams last round has, you know, now gotten a new sponsor, picked up a few more players, and they're playing players like MMA, they're playing players like Bomber. Myungshik's getting better. Lenok, you know, in a position to do really well. He's one of the star players for StarTale in the past. So when you look at all of this all together, you look at a team like KT Rolster, they didn't lose any power, they gained life. And some of their players like Stats have really come into their own. And you just look at this matchup alone today, and it really goes to show like how far things have come in Korea, even in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, I like how you mentioned Star League as well. We'll have that on Thursday for you guys too. Just incredible matchups across the board everywhere right now. It's the best time to be in StarCraft.
It absolutely is. Here's our current rankings. SBENU at the top. We're still in early days here. It's week 3, so that 2-0 score doesn't mean as much as you know, if they win today, a 3-0 score will mean.
Beating KT is a huge thing, you know? So taking a look at the winners' rankings here. Hero on top as always, but Maru looking to challenge. I think he got one day where he got a win, and then he got the ace match win. So he tried to catch up here a little bit, right behind Hero, and also just recently losing to Hero 3-2 in Star League.
Look at how many winners rankings we're actually having up here now, up to down to Myungshik there. 6 and 9.
I guess they're going to start doing this all the time when we hit round 3 for Pro League.
Oh, our viewpoints today. I've missed these.
Yeah,
will the group selections have any effect on today's match? And SBENU going for their first 3 consecutive wins.
What do you think, Wolf? Will the group selections have any effect on today's match? You were talking a little bit about Life.
I don't think so. There was a weird group made with Life. We'll get into that, I guess, a little bit later, maybe when he starts playing against Leonok. But I don't think it's going to come into play. I think that was very playful. There was a lot of not a lot of trash talking, I would say, but just like a lot of strategic movements made in that group selection.
Yep. Well, guys, we're going to jump straight into the coach interview. We'll get that translated for you guys right now.
이선종 감독에게 궁금한 점이 있는데요. 자, 2연승을 이어가고 있습니다. 프로리그하고 3연승이 없는데 오늘 아마 포부가 남다를 것 같아요. 어떠신가요?
So it's your first time trying to get 3 consecutive wins. Talking to SBENU, of course, talking to Legend. So and before we had 5 wins and 2 losses, we never had 3 consecutive wins.
강동 감독님,
We've got all wins so far this season.
And
so just basically talking about their current position, I guess, and trying to have that perfect score.
오늘부터는 저희가 이겨서 뭐 아닐 것 같기도 하고 뭐 다음은 모르죠.
He's saying SBENU used to be a strong team until yesterday. So today, we're going to defeat them, make them the team they used to be. And from now on, they're going to be weak after facing us.
많은 분들이 지네어가 이길 거라고 얘기를 많이 했었었는데 오히려 스베누가 승리를 거뒀었는데 오늘 KT는 지네어와
Last week, SBENU defeated Jin Air, but everybody thought Jin Air was going to win. What do you think about that match?
그러니까 한 거를 봤어요, 경기를. 근데 지셨더라고요. 3대2로.
He saw KT versus Jin Air in the opening day, and they lost 3-2 to Jin Air. And they easily defeated Jin Air the other day, so they're going to have the upper hand going into this match.
He's saying Life brought in Bomber to Group A in the GSL, so they have that team kill in Group A. So they're pretty angry about that, which has been discussed quite a bit here in the studio. I couldn't catch that last part. But the team kill obviously never. Oh, so that motivated KT a lot. They really want to win today.
Coach is saying individual leagues are individual leagues, and Pro League is more important than the individual leagues. And they feel like the 2 leagues are separate, and it doesn't mean much. And they practice differently going into Pro League and individual leagues, of course.
저요?
네.
왜죠?
상대가 너무 열띤 응원을 보내주고 있으니까요.
네, 뭐 열심히 응원하시고 뭐 좋은 결과는 저희가 가져갈게요.
Are you getting intimidated by all the SBENU fans coming into the venue every time? So we also have a lot of fans, he says, so that doesn't really faze us. KT has the best fan girl club, the most loud and most famous fan club we have here in Korea. So
yeah. And they've got the coach that loves to badmouth the most, actually. I love when this guy talks. He doesn't really hold back much. He's like, no, we're going to beat you, and you're going to be weak from now on. Those are big words to say because there's so much hype behind this team of SBENU. They're just taken off, man, using all those old legends, of course, coming back and playing so well, like all of them, and always having their... I guess the people that work at SBENU coming down to the studio to cheer is also a big help.
Absolutely. SBENU is a company that has been supporting esports only a very short time, but they have gone in, jumped in the pool with both feet. They've jumped in a cannonball into the pool of sponsoring esports. Currently sponsoring the GSL as well as the Star League and also Champion Summer League of Legends tournament. That's the biggest esports tournament in Korea.
Oh, look at this. We're going to jump straight into predictions. And what do you know? All the Koreans will vote for Flash. Of course, the guy over there on the left, he is the MC. And he always votes for Flash, so they don't even put a W in there just to joke around a bit. And the foreigners go all for MMA. So we're going to have the 3 versus 3 here, foreigners versus Korean casters.
We actually have so many of our win rates are exactly the same. And you and I are tied in that. And we're actually ahead of Moonglade. I never would have thought that day would ever happen.
Well,
he needs to step it up and catch up with Team Sam. He's like 0.2 behind me or something.
Yeah, Moonglade, I know you're listening.
Teasing him. It's like, you want to 1v1 me? I'm like, never in a million
You're like,
years.
no, I was kidding.
Moon's like, I'll set my units at 50% health, I'll still beat you. I'm like, you probably will.
Yeah, man.
So MMA's only played one game, but he won it. And what's really impressive about this player is that he's one of the players who traveled overseas and was living in Europe for a very long time and came back in full form. He played really well when he came back, even at the GSL Global Tournament. He showed some really good games, and this guy clearly didn't lose any of his skill. He didn't get, washed away like a lot of the other Korean programmers who went to Europe and then tried to come back here and had a hard time. This guy has stayed strong, stayed consistent, and that's very impressive.
Yeah, man. Form is only temporary. Class is permanent.
Ooh, well said.
As MMA himself, I always quote him whenever he plays. I know you guys are getting tired of that. It's fine. Here's Flash. Of course, he's got that sick win rate at Pro League, 290 and 124. It's incredible to look at, especially when you see how underperforming he is for this season. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, he's 6-9 in ace matches, too. That means he's been played in 15 ace matches in his career. That's a lot of ace matches. That's a lot of pressure. This guy doesn't really break under the pressure. He doesn't get nervous. This is a big match starting things off. As I said before, this is one of those matches that's really going to set the pace, set the momentum. If Flash is able to win, I feel like KT is going to have a really big sigh of relief, because that's the big first hurdle they're going to have to go through.
Well, guys, we're going to start the game right now. Game 1 between MMA and Flash. Down here in the bottom right, in the red for Team SBENU, one of our tournament players here today, it is MMA.
Yeah, one of the most handsome pro gamers to have ever lived. The top left in blue for KT, it's Flash. The most successful pro gamers to have ever lived. Oh, he winked at me.
He always does that, man. It's getting kind of weird. You got to go talk to him, I think.
I'm too shy. One time we were in the bathroom together, and I said hi to him, and he said hi back, and I was like, "Oh, Flash, talk to me."
That's heavy, Wolf. That's pretty crazy. So look at this. Flash gets 68% over the 32% of MMA.
Oh, I want to point this out. Like, when you vote for this, if you're correct, you have a chance of winning a small prize. But I feel like a lot of people do this vote out of just pure favoritism and support, rather than who they think is going to win. So. This is not like a poll of all like pro gamers and casters who are putting that percentage up. It's really fans, but it's a really good indicator of what people are feeling, and I really like that we have that right now.
Yeah. I'd like to think that the casters' votes are more legitimate, Wolf.
I do too, and they definitely are. We have some experience doing this. We actually put
some thought into that. The only prize we get is I think the winner gets some free chicken bought by our stats guy.
Yeah.
So there's that. Korean fried chicken is quite good. And I'm actually craving it. Let's get some later tonight.
Oh, sure. You and I can have a fried chicken date.
Oh, yeah.
I like to do that after my broadcasts here. Fried chicken dates, man.
Yeah. So get a cold beer with it as well.
Yeah,
it's quite
of course. Nice. No warm beers. That'd be weird.
No.
So we have a gas first here coming out from MMA. Flash, on the other hand, normal barracks timing. And obviously this means that Flash is going to have to be a little bit careful about what MMA is doing. When you go gas first on this map, there's no way to deny a scout if they scout early, because you're not going to have your Marine out or your Reaper, depending on how they want to play it. In this case, it's going to be a faster factory, so no Reaper here for MMA. But Flash decides not to scout. So it's a two-player map where you can get across the map really early and find out what your opponent's doing, but he just decides not to do it until he sends his Reaper in. So he's going to find out about this a little bit later, but he should still be able to respond to it.
Yeah, Flash known to be a little bit greedy. I guess you can say not sending out that SCV scout is slightly greedy. He's going to go for a bit of a later scout with the Reaper and just expand off of that.
Oh, SBENU fighting. GG girls are back.
Yeah, man. Oh, this is a new GG girl. Ooh, seems like there's a bit of a problem.
MMA's like, wait a minute, that's my GG girl. We need to pause.
This is not okay.
Did her sign say Flash on it? I'm pretty sure.
She's like looking out of the booth right when they came on screen.
We talked about this.
He looks really angry right now, actually.
He actually looks insanely frustrated. And now hotkey setting problems are usually, should be resolved before the match. So this may end up causing his team to get a warning, which would be really frustrating, which is probably part of the reason why he's frustrated.
Yeah. You never want to get a warning. Anyone who's on a team with Marine King will know what those can do to you. How many times did that team lose so many points, man?
You know what would be so interesting is if we could actually have like an info chart about what hotkeys all the pro gamers use. I wonder what specific hotkeys, like for example, MMA uses. I don't know. I know that some people probably do because they watch him stream, for example. But like some people probably use grid, which I don't use. But I know a lot of people who started playing Starcraft 2 a little bit later who don't have a Starcraft 1 background use grid because it's a little bit easier to think about it that way, position-wise. Like if your brain thinks about things spatially that way.
Yeah, it would be nice to know. But of course, Kespa very well known for trying to keep everything on the down low.
Yeah.
You can actually watch on MMA screen how he's changing the hotkeys right now. That's really cool.
It's too far away for me to read which ones he's changing, and also they're in Korean, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks like he's changing the way he hotkeys buildings. It looked like I can't tell.
Oh man, that's way too far away.
Yeah. But I change very few hotkeys when I play with a few custom hotkeys. Like I have Immortal set to R to produce instead of I because I's on the right side of the keyboard and that annoys me when I make Immortals. I have Patrol set to Q because P is really far away and there's no other Q button for the for a probe to use, for example, which is what I end up patrolling most of the time.
Yeah, I'm one of those bad guys. I don't use any hotkeys. I just use what it is. Like I just got used to it, so I just didn't change it up really.
Sure, I mean that's a really common thing because I mean the game is designed like really efficiently and really well. It's like much better than StarCraft 1. And that's why there's actually a StarCraft 1 hotkey layout option.
Hey man, don't let Tasteless hear you. He's not listening. He'll take offense.
If you press the P key to build a probe, that's so far away. So a lot of StarCraft 1 players will hotkey their Nexus by default to 0. So they could hit 0 and then P to make their first probe or any subsequent probes that they might end up making. And well, I guess we're just gonna have to take a little bit of a break here as this gets resolved.
Yeah. I like that we can actually still see MMA changing all this stuff. So we actually know like what the reason is behind all this.
Sure.
And it seems like he just forgot straight up because he's changing so much stuff.
Well, yeah, like he when you play so much StarCraft, right? And oh god, Flash is like so unhappy with this. When you play so much StarCraft and you sit down at your desk that you're familiar with, and you practice hours and hours and hours a day on it. It feels kind of natural sometimes to just sit down at a computer and play without changing your hotkeys. And I know that MMA is actually very close with a lot of the players on KT. He ended up talking to a lot of the players in the makeup room before the match and was kind of bouncing them back and forth. So probably was like not really. He was trying to keep himself not stressed out for his match. Maybe just forgot. But we're back in it.
Yeah, we finally got this back. And looking at the build that MMA is doing, maybe just going into this game a little bit, it looks like it will be Banshees going with the double gas. Gonna probably commit to Cloak there. Just sending out a Hellion here. I think this is his first scout, actually.
Yeah, and both players opting not to scout until this point in time. When you see a Hellion this early with a Reaper, it only means one thing. But you don't know whether or not he's committing to Cloak or not unless you can get in there. And I don't think that this Reaper... okay, it's going to escape barely. Just barely, I think.
Oh,
maybe not! Oh! Nice! Nice pick off there. And that eliminates all scouting that Flash is going to have in this game. He's probably going to have to make an eBay just blind here because he doesn't know.
Yeah, this build is actually really cool because it just allows you to do this. Unfortunately, it will lose his Hellion, but... It's going to be too late. Like, he's got Marines out. There's no way, unless he commits to a scan, that he's going to have any idea what's going on. And so it's going to force him to try to cover all his bases unless he, decides to take it risky and he could possibly take a lot of damage. Let's see what he decides to go for. We already got the Banshee out here, and also making Widow Mines behind this is MMA.
So, I mean, the funny thing about scanning even against something like this too, to just to add to your point, is if you scan and you see Cloak Banshees, you're like, oh, now I don't have a scan. He's got Cloak Banshees. It's a terrifying thing.
Yeah.
Gonna see this Widowmine here. And he's getting a Viking out early, but still no eBay. And that is potentially going to be very problematic here. In fact, I think it just simply will be, unless he saves scans.
Oh, really nice Marine placement as well. Denies the Hellions. And now the Banshee's here at the natural.
He has 1 scan available right now. He'll have a second one in about 15 seconds.
Yep. It's all about this Vikings here.
Oh, he actually might be able to get this with his first scan if he's really careful. Oh, he's going to get it. Nice scan there. That was really well done.
Yeah. First Banshee not going to get much damage. Let's see. Seems like MMA is just going to make a third base here. Just try to follow this up with the Raven, play a little bit more defensive on 2 base, get that third CC up.
Yeah, I mean, this is he had everything going for him for as far as how the O build started, but just that Viking timing, that safety, and the scan that he saved was all he needed to hold that off. So now with that huge investment that MMA made, not only to a Banshee, but also the cloak research, and now the money he's spending even on a Raven, he's kind of have to, he didn't get much return on that, so he actually has to make a third CC and make it ASAP and hope that he can secure that location with some faster siege tanks he's cranking out right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he definitely got the better part of the build in the fact that, you know, Flash wasn't really able to scout, and he kind of just had to make a Viking and sit back and wait and defend, but, you know, still Flash able to get up that faster CC. Probably going to be pretty happy right now.
Yeah. He's like, okay, I deflected you. Killing his own Hellion here, or attacking his own Hellion to kill that Widowmine.
Yeah, pretty cute.
Not want to run into this concave of Marines, plus the extra range on that tank is going to make it a rough time for those Hellions if they try to approach. They need to get out of here.
Wow, MMA is actually going to do a small little push. Oh, I thought he was actually going to commit to it.
Well, this move out here might make Flash misunderstand the situation, because as far as I know, he doesn't know about the third CC. I'm going to check that. Yeah, he has no idea. So
he still hasn't seen the entire base of MMA. He just has no idea.
So if he, you know, makes Flash think that he's moving out with an aggressive push with several Vikings, even a Raven, and that many Marines, he might actually, you know, sit back nervously and defend and play defensively and not add a third CC yet. And that could end up being his downfall the longer this game goes on, because now already MMA has taken the lead in Harvesters and is going to be able to drop, you know, a ton of mules.
Yeah, I'm just kind of worried about MMA and the fact that Flash has got a gigantic army right now, and I don't know. MMA's not going to have much. I mean, we do see the third CC going down. I thought possibly Flash was going to go for a bit of a timing push here with a lot of Hellions and some Marauders, but or not Marauders, just a bunch of Hellions and Vikings and stuff.
Yeah, he is adding some Marauders now. Or no, that's MMA.
That's MMA, yeah. It messed me up too, man. But yeah, it seems like he's just going to play it a bit safe and just get a third CC.
You know, I think that Flash might have been planning to do what you were saying, but when he saw that army move out, he wasn't sure. And now he's coming over and he's still seeing, of course, no third CC yet, but I think he's starting to get an idea of what MMA actually has, and this scan is going to tell him a little bit more. He won't see the CC with this scan, but I think he can reasonably assume, based on the timing of the production facilities that are being added, that this is in fact the case. And back at home, he's adding additional factories. He's got a massive amount of air control, something he's probably going to be able to figure out pretty soon. And the longer this game goes on, the more important that's going to be.
Yeah. It's
not really important right now, though, because if he wants to try to fight Marauders at this high of a count versus Vikings and Ravens, it's not going to be a good show.
Yeah. I'm just really excited for this game because MMA is going Biome. We got Flash going Mech, of course. So we're going to see MMA try to use that style, try to run Flash around the map. I'm just thinking about this this map a little bit for Bio versus Mech. You get some decent dropping paths, you know, in towards the natural. Also, that third base isn't super close. But it looks like for now, MMA's not going to do too much dropping. He's only got 2 minutes of XR right now. He's trying to pump them out. It looks like he was making mostly Vikings, but he's just going to sit back, you know, get a tank or two and get that third base up and running.
Yeah. Flash is obviously going into Mech, what he's known for. And here comes that timing you were talking about. He's moving across here. Third base far away. There's a good timing to go over to this third base as it's being moved. And Flash has, the one thing he has a lot of really is Hellbats. He has 17 Hellbats on the map right now, but he doesn't have medevacs to drop them. I'm not really sure how well this is going to go for him, depending on how MMA decides to engage. He's got so many Marauders in this mix.
We got to drop.
4.
Yeah, he's coming over towards the left side. We're going to see some turrets go down. He's actually going to drop those Marauders straight on the left side to get that tank fire, and he's coming in a huge concave here.
And this is what I was talking about, those Vikings, that air control means nothing if there's nothing to support them. And look at this, the Hellbats here are now just going to be kited by this bio. Marauders at the front to take that blue flame damage, and MMA is going to just annihilate everything. GG.
Whoa.
Takes game number 1.
That's the kind of game I expected, man. That was sick. MMA just rolling over Flash, and that is so good for SBENU. They're going to get ahead here. A 1-0 lead already.
This guy...
MMA just looking better and better, man. It's exciting.
He does, you know, and that quote you said earlier, you know, form is temporary, class is forever, or whatever the infinite or whatever it is that he says.
Permanent?
Permanent, right. That is that is what seems to be true for MMA. And as a person who's watched his very first televised match and commentated his first matches to all the way here now, 4 years later, watching him, you know, it's crazy to see that this person has been so consistent through so much time. His original team was Slayers. And I know a lot of you guys watching this broadcast don't even remember that name or know that team at all. It's a very old StarCraft team that was formed by Boxer himself. A lot of history in that team, a lot of drama, and you know, it's crazy to see a player escape from all of that. One of the few to remain off of Slayers and do consistently well from such like an archaic background. It's a really similar story to some of these players like Life, who come from a background of like a team that have problems like Xenex, and somehow we were able to just rise through StarTale, and then now find themselves at the head of KT Rolster. These players that have been around for so long and never gave up, never lost motivation. Lenok is another one of these players as well.
Yeah, we also got Bomber coming up a little bit later on in the night. There's just so much hype behind this team with all of these new veteran players that they got here
This team is like a team of legends.
Pretty much. They've even got Legend as their coach.
That well said. And, you know, I know a lot of you guys don't know this about Legend, because you know, he's tweeted about it a few times. Like, this was years ago. It's always been his dream to coach a team. Ever since he was an observer, he was always like, one day I'm going to coach a team. I'm going to make a team. He wanted to make one. He tried a few times. It failed every time. And now he's actually coaching a team that's well-funded, has a lot of great players, and is top of the round. And he's doing so well with this new team.
Whatever he's doing in that house is working out. Whatever SBENU is feeding them, I don't know what they've got going on in there.
It's the sneakers, man.
It's working. They're feeding him the sneakers? Is that what's going on?
I don't know if they're feeding him the sneakers, but the sneakers are comfortable, man. You got comfy feet, you're going to play better.
Yeah, man. Look good, feel good, play good. That's what I always used to say.
Yeah.
So we got through the first game here. MMA just rolling over Flash. I guess Flash, you know, he just needed some more tanks, I guess. It was a really nice timing from MMA. Even like the Raven timing after the first Banshee, he's like, oh, I'm not going to get any more damage. Make a Raven. He had so much energy to put down 4 auto turrets and draw a lot of fire from the tanks, you know, starting off. Even just that small little Marauder drop on the left side as well. Well, really cute, but also really useful.
Yeah, and Hellbat's range is not very long. That cone-shaped flame they fire out, you got to be right on top of the bio. And in this case, those auto turrets help zone that out, so the units could fan out and do their damage before it mattered. Like you said, tanking the siege tank fire as well.
It's like +1 stimmed bio as well, and a bunch of Marauders in the mix. So.
And Flash had committed so much to Vikings, which ended up being totally useless in this case.
Yeah.